Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Dr. Sumanth Prasad, Professor and Head, Department of Public Health Dentistry. Today, I'll be talking on fluorides and caries prevention. This is a very important topic, which will usually be coming in your question papers, as also in competitive exams. A lot of questions are asked on this particular topic. Fluoride, as you all know, is an essential nutrient, which is essential for normal growth and development. It acts as a double-edged sword. In small quantities, it is beneficial to dental health and oral health. But in large quantities, it is harmful to health. It causes dental fluorosis, keratal fluorosis, and so on. So let's begin with the basic thing. The physiology and chemistry of fluoride. Fluoride is an essential nutrient. It ranks 13th as the most abundant element in the Earth's crust. It has an atomic weight of 19 and an atomic number of 9. It's the most electronegative of all elements. That means it is not available in free elemental form. It has an ability to attract to other ions very quickly. So it's very difficult to see it in free form. That's why you don't see it as fluorine. We usually say it as fluoride. This fluoride can be available in two forms, either inorganic fluoride or in organic fluoride. The most common form of inorganic fluoride is sodium fluoride, calcium fluoride, and hydrofluoride. And the one which is there in organic fluoride is usually fluorocarbons or methylfluorine. The principal source of fluoride, how we humans can absorb fluoride is, or consume fluoride, is from the water, from the soil, and air. That means the water that we drink, the food that we eat, all these is responsible for fluoride. Sometimes even fluoride can be there in the air, which is inhaled through the lungs and can be absorbed into the body. It can be derived from water, plants, and animals through the atmosphere of coal, smoke, volcanic emissions. The most common sources are fluorapatite, cryolite, and fluorspar. They are the common rocks that contain fluoride. The Earth's crust contains around 880 ppm of fluoride. Deep well water contains fluoride as compared to surface water. The sea water contains around 0.8 to 1.5 ppm of fluoride. Among the food, the fish contains a very good amount of fluoride, around 6 to 27 ppm. Seafood, that is fish bone, contains the highest quantity of fluoride. For the vegetarians, especially tea leaves are said to contain around 97 ppm of fluoride. That is, each cup of tea on an average contains around 0.82 milligrams per cup of tea. Potatoes contain around 6.5 ppm of fluoride. Vegetable cereals and fruits contains between 0.2 to 0.3 depending upon where they have been grown. So the average daily consumption of fluoride for an adult should be between 2.2 to 3.2 ppm, and for an infant it should be between 1 to 1.2 ppm. The absorption of fluoride mainly takes place in the stomach and intestine. That is, especially if there is an acidic environment, fluoride is better absorbed. Supposing you're giving fluoride to somebody who is on an empty stomach, almost 100% of it is actually absorbed. But if taken along with food, only around 70% of it is absorbed. That what is not absorbed is actually absorbed by the intestine. Fluoride can also be absorbed through the lungs. That is, when we inhale gases, air, it can be taken from there, and then it reaches the bloodstream. Ultimately, the central compartment where fluoride must reach is the blood plasma, where it gets distributed and then it is eliminated. The storage of fluoride is basically in the bones and the teeth. Fluoride has got a lot of ability to get into the bones and the teeth. If you look at the teeth, it is the outer surface of the enamel contains maximum amount of fluoride as compared to the inner. The outer enamel contains on an average around 500 to 4000 ppm of milligrams of fluoride, whereas the inner layers of the enamel may on an average contain around 50 to 100 milligrams of fluoride per kg. The cementum, outer parts of the cementum also contains fluoride. if you look into the dentine which is close to the pulp, because it's vascular, because of it takes up the vascularity from the pulp, that's said to be having more amount of fluoride as compared to the dentine that is close to the enamel dentine junction. With respect to excretion of fluoride usually takes place, gets eliminated through the urine. 90% of it is excreted through the urine. Around less than 10% is excreted through feces or through sweat. Now, to tell you about fluoride and caries prevention, basically the first thing what you will have to do is you will have to write what is the way how fluoride is actually classified, or the types of fluoride that is fit for human consumption. We have systemic fluorides and topical fluoride. Systemic fluoride is through community water fluoridation, school water fluoridation, salt fluoridation, milk fluoridation, fluoride supplements. Then we have topical fluorides, which could be professionally applied or self-applied fluorides. Professionally applied fluorides are sodium fluoride, stannous fluoride, acetylate phosphate fluoride, fluoride varnishes, restorative materials containing fluoride, oral prophylactic paste containing fluoride. Self-applied fluorides are usually fluoride dentifrices, the form of toothpaste and tooth powders, fluoride mouthwashes, and fluoride gels. Before I go on with the details, you must know, again I want to remind you that it acts as a double-edged sword. Whenever fluoride is taken in small quantities, it is beneficial to dental or oral health, but when taken in large quantities, it causes harm to oral health, especially in the form of dental fluorosis. Now you must be thinking why I'm talking so much about fluoride. Fluoride is actually the cornerstone of preventive dentistry. When people do brush their teeth, one way of protecting the teeth and gums is through regular oral hygiene. But the next most effective method is, proven method, is by the use of fluoride, especially for the prevention of dental caries. That's why it is said to be as a cornerstone of preventive dentistry. That's the reason why I'm trying to tell you, though the topic is on fluoride and preventive dentistry, the first thing which we'll be talking is systemic fluorides, that is community water fluoridation. Though it is not applied much in our country, we do have a lot of countries where community water fluoridation is going on a large scale, mainly because it is the most economic method to prevent dental caries. We do have countries like Ireland, Singapore, Malaysia, wherein all the water that is available for human consumption is fluoridated. So what is this water fluoridation? Water fluoridation is defined as a controlled upward adjustment of the concentration of fluoride ion in the community water supply in such a way that the concentration of fluoride ion in the water may be consistently maintained at 1 part per million by weight to prevent dental caries with the minimum possibility of causing dental fluorosis. That is, it is an upward adjustment of the concentration of fluoride ion in the community water supply. If it is low, it has to be brought high. Now, in India, we have a lot of areas which all naturally have high fluoride content. I'm not talking about adding fluoride to water over here. I'm talking in areas which do not have fluoride in the water supplies because it is beneficial for dental and oral health. In those countries which do not, where the water does not contain fluoride, it is very essential to add fluoride into the water supplies. This adding of fluoride is called as community water fluoridation. Again, I'm reminding you, it is a cornerstone of preventive dentistry. Almost 70 to 80% of caries reduction is done using this simple method of adding fluoride to the water supplies, just which comes next to toothbrushing. So, requirement of community water fluoridation, all the countries which are making fluoridation possible, they have a well-equipped or a well-established centralized pipe water supply which reaches a large amount of homes. They have a centralized water distribution system. There should be evidence that people drink water, or the usage of water for drinking and cooking purposes is the one which is they have been supplied by the government through the pipes. They should have a suitable equipment at the treatment plant or at the pumping station. There should be a constant supply of suitable fluoride chemical. There should also be workers in the treatment plant who will be able to maintain the system and keep adequate records. There should be sufficient money for initial installation and running of cost. The main requirement is there should be a level of caries that is moderate to high. Only if you have evidence of the level of caries between moderate to high, and if no fluoride is present in the water supplies, then the communities can take a decision, the governments can take a decision of adding fluoride to the water supplies. So the components that is used for fluoridation are sodium fluoride, sodium silicofluoride, hydroxyfluorosilicic acid, calcium fluoride, ammonium silicofluoride. Based on the distribution of the population, the amount of people, we have various ways how this actually, whether to use solution feeders or dry feeders in fluoride. Now, the optimum recommended levels of fluoride by the WHO is varies with climate, because the average consumption of water varies. In cold climates, we tend to drink less amount of water, wherein you can keep the range in colder climates between 1.1 to 1.2 ppm. In hot climates, we tend to drink a lot of water, where the fluoride can be maintained at 0.7 to 0.8 ppm. In moderate climate, you tend to have a moderate amount of water, so the optimal level can be maintained at 1 ppm. And on an average, the average range of fluoride that has to be used for prevention of dental caries by the water working people is to maintain the level between 0.7 to 1.2 ppm of fluoride. So in communities which can actually go more better, you have an equation for maintaining this fluoride levels. It's called the optimum fluoride concentration for a community, can be calculated with the following equation. That is, ppm fluoride concentration is equal to 0.34 by E, where E is equal to minus 0.038 plus 0.0062 into temperature of that area in degree Fahrenheit. So whatever is the fluoride concentration, you put it as E 0.038, just use this formula, and then you will be able to establish what type of, or how much amount or what quantity of fluoride has to be put into the water supplies for achieving maximum benefit. Now, the advantages of community water fluoridation is it requires no cooperative effort on the part of the individual other than consuming the water regularly. He does not have to do anything. He just have to use that water for drinking and cooking purposes. Remember that the amount of reduction of dental caries in both children and adults is said to be anywhere between 50 to 70%. And the first permanent molar, the reduction is almost 70 to 80% in most of the articles. So adding fluoride to water is actually a practical, economic, and safe method to prevent dental caries, because it benefits everyone regardless of their socioeconomic status, education background, or financial status. They just do not have to do anything other than to consume fluoridated water. It also prevents osteoporosis in old age. It also prevents old age hearing loss and prevents osteoclerotic changes. Some of the disadvantages of community water fluoridation is person who's resistant to dental caries has to drink fluoridated water. So the communities or the countries can actually give option of having fluoridated water and non-fluoridated water distribution systems. Fluoridated water can also be misused for other purposes because of the cost involved. Though it is very, very economic, sometimes it could be misused for other purposes. It can be implemented in areas only which has a centralized pipe water distribution system. That is, countries which has only one method of distributing water supplies. Those countries, if they apply or add fluoride to the water supplies in case it is deficient of fluoride, this is said to be very, very effective. But in countries which have multiple sources of water, multiple distribution systems of water, then this is not a practical method. So what to do in case a country, say for like example, like in India, where we have multiple areas where water is there available for drinking purposes. People usually drink here from the ponds, from the lakes. The government has less amount of water distribution systems. It is not centralized. It is again in various areas how water is actually being distributed. So then other alternative of adding fluoride, especially in areas which contains no fluoride at all, say for example, in certain parts of Himachal Pradesh or in certain parts of Kerala or in certain parts of Karnataka where I belong, I know that the water there does not contain fluoride. And in these areas, the amount of dental caries is actually very high. But we cannot directly add fluoride to water because naturally the food and food grains, vegetables, fruits may come from other sources. So there may be an availability of fluoride, bioavailability of fluoride through those sources. But if state governments are interested in distributing fluoride to its people, they can think about salt fluoridation. Salt fluoridation is the controlled addition of fluoride, usually sodium or potassium fluoride, during the manufacture of salt meant for human consumption. This particular method of fluoridating salt for preventing caries was first suggested by Westby. He was an expert in giving iodized salt and had a strong commitment to public health. He advised the director of Switzerland that fluoride should join iodine as a salt additive. So one of the first areas that was taken was the canton of Zurich, who was the first to act upon this decision, and they authorized the sale of domestic salt at 90 milligrams fluoride per kg in 1955. Again, in Switzerland, in Zurich, the salt manufacturing was actually very, very limited. There was a monopoly. There were only one area where salt was manufactured and it was distributed. We did not have multiple sources of salt. They had only one area where salt was manufactured. All they had to do is to put fluoride in the conveyor belts where salt is manufactured, and just by spraying fluoride to these conveyor belts, they were able to add the fluoride in appropriate concentrations to give beneficial effects to oral health. By 1967, more than 3/4 of domestic salt sold in Switzerland had been fluoridated up to 90 milligrams per kg fluoride. Later on, various studies were there wherein they had increased the fluoride levels to 200 milligrams per kg, then to 250 milligrams per kg, and then they went on to see whether 350 milligrams per kg was actually beneficial. And nowadays, it is concluded that adding 250 milligrams per kg fluoride per kg salt was beneficial to oral health. To distribute fluoridated salt, fluoridated salt has the ability to reach a large amount of population irrespective of geographic location and economy. The process does not require an experienced or trained operators at the community level or the salt factory. The cost of salt implementation can be cost of implementation can be absorbed through the salt marketing process, and the cost of fluoride compound is substantially less as compared to less than that of cost of salt or water fluoridation. The multiple sources of water pose a serious obstacle to water fluoridation. So wherever you have areas where the application of water fluoridation is definitely not possible, so they can think of fluoridating the salt. The benefits are you can always give a consumer choice to the people, that is, make available both fluoridated salt and non-fluoridated salt available to the people. Those who are already resistant to dental caries or who do not have any caries problem, they can definitely be educated and they can use fluoride which does not contain a salt which does not contain fluoride. But in those communities or those individuals and families who have a lot of dental caries, they can think of using fluoridated salt. That's the reason why always giving consumer choice is beneficial. To manufacture salt, as told before, it must have a centralized salt production unit. There must be a political will and resources to implement salt fluoridation. The advantages are it's quite economical, practical, and feasible. The caries reduction is 40 to 50%. Individual may accept or they may reject. Non-fluoridated salt, like non-iodized salt, may be made available to its population. The success of salt fluoridation has been reported in Colombia, Costa Rica, Jamaica, Switzerland, France, etc. Jamaica is the only country where virtually all salt meant for human consumption has been fluoridated since 1987. So it's a very good method how you can give or apply fluoride in salt such that it's available for human consumption. So I think I touched upon two parts now. In my future classes, I'll be covering more about the systemic applications of fluoride. Thank you.